Hey everybody, it's Jennifer here with another Fab Fit Friday. I'm actually on a couple minutes early because everything just set up perfectly. I had no trouble with my audio. My cameras are all set up, so I'm kind of excited. Today I'm going to show you how to construct the card slot section of the road trip wallet, and then we'll see what time it is after that. I may have to cut it short today because I'm in the middle of teaching pants fitting for Stitches at Home, and I just want to say that, you know, when you get that moment of, like, I don't know, when you it's almost like validation, because I've been teaching pants for a long time, and I have to say that this year I have finally gotten to the point where people take my pants fitting classes, and more often than not students can make, they make pants that fit, and I'm just having such a good time teaching and doing the fitting, and watching my students get great results. So I'm very excited about that, and that's actually what I've been spending most of my time this week doing, because when you take the class at Stitches, you get a free, well, not free, it's part of the class, but you get one-on-one fitting session with me in addition to the class time. So that's why I've been spending a lot of time doing pants this week, and Saturday is the last set of classes. There's a morning and afternoon class, and by then I'll be able to show people how to true up their patterns and design their waistband and pockets. So it's just been a really fun adventure for me to do the pants fitting at Stitches at Home. If you missed it and you're interested in making pants, please, I'll put the link below. I do teach it as a one-on-one private class, and I will also be teaching pants again probably in March with Stitches. So I'll put links to those things down below so you can see them later. Hi Amber and Judy, thank you for joining me. All right, so I actually got some Instagram messages from some of my subscribers who are following along with this sew along. So even though it's not my normal project, I very rarely work on a fun, project like a wallet. I'm gonna spend this week and next week to finish it up, because now I know some people are following along with me, so I don't want to, not do a good job sharing that with you guys. And also remember, if you're interested in getting a cool Stitches subscription box, check out the links below, because there's a 30% off special J Stern Designs discount code if you want to try it. So check that out if you're interested in getting a subscription box with Debbie Gray at Cool Stitches. Let me just say hi Meg, hi Janie, and hi PG. Welcome, ladies. Alright, so I'm going to get right into it, because like I said, I'm going to keep this a little bit short today because I have a lot of stuff to do. I have a couple more students to meet with this afternoon for the pants class. So let me show you what we're going to do. I'm going to switch my view here. Oh, Meg says, I love J Stern's Cool Stitches subscription boxes. And Amber says, I have a housekeeping question. How do you dispose of your sewing needles? That's a really good question. I dispose my sewing needles and my old rotary cutters similarly. If I haven't lost the case that the rotary cutter blades come in, I put it in there. But sometimes I'm trying to, change my blade and I can't find the, whatever with the plastic. I fold packing tape around them. So my needles and my rotary cutter blades, I literally, it's almost like I'm laminating them in packing tape, and then I throw them away. So there's enough, there's enough space so they don't prick you or, make a hole in the garbage bag. PG says she uses old prescription bottles. That's a great idea too. I like that idea. You just want to do something. Oh, Meg uses the empty needle case to dispose of them. That's a good idea too. I pitch those a lot, and now that you say that, that's a really good idea too. Um, as long as you're disposing them in a way where you're not um, exposing them to the garbage where you can get stabbed or your bag can get stabbed. I think that's good. All right, so um, yeah, so I'm going to get started with this. Let's see, I'm going to switch my view to picture in picture. All right, so I'm going to show you how to turn this mess into, ta-da, this beautiful card slot section, you know, to put your credit cards in. It actually goes together really easily. I was kind of surprised. And the other thing I'll say is, you know, there's a lot of indie pattern companies out there, and some patterns instructions are not very good. I will say these instructions are very good. So if you miss steps with me, or if next week I skip over some things and I kind of talk through what I did between today and next Friday, just know that the instructions are actually very good. I didn't have to read anything twice. It was very easy. And then after I sewed this red, this odd color card separator in there, because remember last week I ran out of fabric and I didn't have enough. Well, come to find out, I actually did have 2 more pieces. I just labeled them and put them aside, and then I realized I needed 14 instead of 2, so I didn't count these in. So I'm going to go with this now because I want it to be the same on both sides, but I did have more fabric. All right, so let's see. Oh, hi, Diane. Oh, it's a pretty day in Michigan. It's a pretty day in Connecticut, too. It's very nice, and actually on Sunday we might get to 60 degrees, which is crazy for this time of year, but it's been, you know, kind of interesting here in Connecticut. And then next Wednesday, I think we could get another snowstorm, so that's how it's going here in New England. All right, so we're going to make this, and I'm going to start by showing you the first step was to take a pen, and you need to measure. Here's my little ruler here. See if I can get it to come here. Okay, so you measure 3.5 inches from one end of piece F, okay, and that's why it was really important to label your pieces, because when you go to try to find your pieces, it was very easy for me to find them because I labeled them all. So just to refer to what F is the card slot base. Okay, so there were 2 of them, so I guess the wallet's going to have 2 sets of card slots. So what you're going to do is you're going to start by measuring 3.5 inches from one end, and you're going to draw a line. And then you're going to draw lines 1/2 inch away until you have 8 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then that's 8. So I've already done that step. I think you can see. And I will tell you, if any of you haven't used these friction pens, they are amazing, because if I were to press this, the ink completely disappears. And I actually went to my little Oliso mini iron to press my first card separator down flat, and I erased all my lines on my first half, so that's how I know it works really, really well on this fabric. Linda says, hi from Texas. I use empty plastic fish food containers to put my bad needles, pins, rotary blades. That's an excellent idea. If you have a fish tank and you have fish food, it's good to reuse plastic in a way that, you know, you're not just tossing it, because a lot of things you toss in your recycle bin actually screw up the recycling. So I think that's a really good idea. Okay, so I made my lines. The next step is to take your G card slot pieces, and these are the pieces that I showed last on Tuesday during Fit Tip Tuesday. The interfacing was a lot smaller, and I kind of get why that is now, because really it only needs to be interfaced in the middle because it's going to get folded down, and most of this is taken up by seam allowances. So I'm going to show you how to attach this. So we're going to need G, and then we're going to need H, which is the last card slot piece, but I'm going to put that aside for now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my pieces all ready here. I'm going to drag my machine over, and I'm going to just get my, oh, I guess, let me just make sure that's really in focus. Hold on. Okay, so, all right, so the process of doing this, for the first one, okay, you're going to take your first card slot divider and you're going to line it up with the first line. Okay, so there's the first line. I'm going to line it up, and then it says to pin in place and sew at 1/4 inch. I'm not going to pin because I had no trouble with this on my first go around. So we're going to just sew this. Oops. Okay, we're sewing in 1 second. Hold on. Okay. Okay, so we're just going to sew this using my 1/4 inch. And I back tacked on both edges. Okay, then what you're going to do is you're going to take this other end, you're going to fold it up and line it up with the second line, like that. Okay, and this is where I took it over to my iron and I ironed it, and all these lines disappeared the first time. So I'm not going to do that this time. I'm just going to finger press this flat. Okay, then you're going to take a second piece and you're going to lay that right on top of that edge, and you're lining both of these pieces up with that second line. All right, so then what we're going to do is we're going to sew. So I'm going to sew at 1/4 inch. Okay. Then I'm going to fold this one to the third line. Okay, so do you see what I'm doing? So now I've got 2 folded pieces here. Okay, I'm finger pressing them flat, folding them right on top of each other, and I'm going to stick my next piece on there, again lining it up with the line and the raw edges of the second one. So the third one and the second one are lined up together. Okay, and then I'm going to sew that using 1/4 inch. Okay, so you can guess what I'm going to do now. Oh, Nilgun says good night from Istanbul. Oh, I'm so excited you join us. Okay, we're working on the card slots here. So again, I'm going to fold this down. Okay, so now you can see I've got 3. And I think 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, now I'm going to put my pink one because that's what I did on the other side. So I'm going to line up my pink one here. And we're just going to do that at 1/4 inch. Fold it up. We're going to add the next one. I know this has got to be riveting video here. Okay, so that's done. I'm going to fold that one up. And I am going to set the next one on. Okay, so everything is nice and even. See how these are nice and even? All right. I mean, please, if you want to pin, pin. I don't know why I don't pin. Just want to make sure they're not getting crazy under here. Okay. Okay. So now I'm going to do this one. And I think I should have, okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I should have one more here somewhere. Did I lose it? Did it fall on the ground? Oh no, I lost. It's got to be here somewhere. All right, so don't know what I did with 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so I can't find one of my pieces. It's not stuck under my machine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here. I'm going to get my little iron over here. And I am going to just fuse a little piece of interfacing. That's not exactly the right size, but I think as long as there's a little bit in the center here, it's going to be... Oh, what is that? Oh, this one isn't even cut right. Hold on. Boy, this is turning into a little bit of a hoo-hoo here. Let me just flatten that out a little bit. All right, let me just cut that in half. So I don't know if you guys saw, but I'm giving the free t-shirt quilt class to anyone who sends me proof of purchase for one of these irons. This iron is incredible. It's like a full-size iron in a tiny little mighty size. So watch the steam action on this. Can you see the steam? It really is an amazing iron. And actually, I get kind of silly with this because this is my first affiliate thing. So actually I have an affiliate link. So if anyone wants to get one of these irons, go click on my affiliate link. It's underneath the video. But I want to say that I am totally enjoying my Aliso iron. All right. Let me put you back over here for a minute. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this one onto here, like this. This is the last one that we need for this. So I'm going to line those up, and we're going to sew them 1/4 inch. Okay. All right, so now that we have that last one sewn, and I don't have to worry about losing my lines, I just want to show you here. If I take this whole thing, fold the last one in place like this, I can give everything a really nice steam with this iron. Okay, and so you can see it behaves much nicer if you do that. All right, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the piece H, the last card slot, and we're going to attach that to the last one. Okay, so that becomes my last card slot. All right, so I'm going to move this back over here. All right, so let me just sew this last one. Just making sure the last one is even. All right, so now I'm going to bring this back over, and I am going to fold this in place. You fold the last one in place so it lines up with the opposite end of the base piece F. I'm going to give this a nice press. Okay, and then we have some basting and top stitching to do. So I'm going to bring my sewing machine back, and the first thing I'm going to do is just sort of sew. The first thing I'm going to do is clip all these threads off with my big scissors. Okay, that's a little bit neater. Let me just get this one. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to just stitch across here, and this is just to hold, oops, and this is just to hold it in place. Okay, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to top stitch the edges of all of the card slots. So you can see here, every card slot I top stitched about 1/8 of an inch away. So I'll start on this end. All right, and then I'm just going to go to the next one. Then I'll go to the next one. Then I'll go to the next one. And the next one. And the next one. And the next one. This is the last one. Yay! Okay, so now you can see they're all, they're all top stitched. Oh, Nilgun says, I think to sew your house coat is easier. This wallet seems too complicated. Well, you know what, Nilgun, I'll tell you, it's a lot of little pieces and a lot of little steps, but like I said, the instructions are really good, and it really is just a lot of simple sewing. So I haven't really had any trouble. It is a lot of steps, and it's going to take a little bit of time, but you're going to end up with a wallet that has zippers. So I know I have a Vera Bradley. I get those Vera Bradley cloth wallets that zip up, and they only last for so long. So I'm kind of excited because then I won't have to go buy the next one. I can use this as my next one when, when the other one completely, dies from being too beat up. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to baste all these down together. Now in the instruction it said to use your walking foot or your dual feed, but I didn't notice it having a problem. So we want to sew in the direction that the layers are going. We don't want to sew against them. So we're going to sew right side up and then right side down. Alright, So then I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to sew this way. I think if you give it a good press, it won't, you know, it stays nice. Okay, so the next step is I just want to take my rotary cutter and my ruler and I just want to trim it a little bit so everything's nice and even. And she does say in the instructions to do that, you know, just in case. So I'm literally just going to trim off like the little extra to make it straight. And I'm going to do this here. In the middle it kind of puffs out a little bit. Well, this side actually didn't. This side is better. But it also gets rid of all your tails too. So now you have this nice, neat section. And the next step is to sew the borders on. So the instructions to do that are to do the side borders first and then the end borders, or the top and bottom is first, I'm sorry. So this is piece J. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it right sides together and we're going to sew it on. Now the seam allowance for this is 3/8 of an inch. So let me just sew this on doing 3/8. Okay, so I'm just lining it up at the top and then I'll make sure it's lined up as I go. So I'll make sure it's lined up down here. And we're just going to do 3/8. Okay, and then to reinforce it, we're just going to sew just outside the first seam. So you've got 2 rows of stitching. And let me do the other side. This is kind of a nostalgic project for me because when I first started sewing and working at a sewing store, I did a lot of these kinds of projects. All right, now let me do the second row. All right, so this, oh, there's a little bit. Okay, so now the next step is the instructions say to trim this to 1/8 of an inch. Pretty close. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so there's that one. I think I need to... All right, now I'm going to trim this side to 1/8. Now because it's puffy, I'm not pressing it flat. I'm kind of holding it at a very slight angle so I can dig it into the fabric and create a nice stable line to trim on. All right, so that's done. All right, so now I get to bring the iron over one more time. And what we're going to do is we're just going to press these flat. Now obviously you don't want to press backwards along your card slots because you'll ruffle them up, so. All right, I'm going to just do this. I'm going to press sideways like this. All right, maybe I'll do it upside down. Give it a nice press. All right, so the next step now is to top stitch along these edges. So let's do that. So again, I'm just going to stitch right, you know, kind of right near near my seam. Kind of almost, I mean, not stitching the ditch, but pretty close. Remember that seam allowance under there is really narrow because you trimmed it. All right, let's do this side. Excellent. All right, so now I'm just going to even up this end a little bit right here. Trim that little piece off. And on this side, I'll just trim this little piece off. Okay, so now the next step is I'm going to sew the side pieces on. This is piece K. So by now I've used almost 2/3 of the pieces. So most of the pieces were involved with making these card slots. So again, we're going to just sew using 3/8 of an inch. And we're going to double stitch them. Okay. So I'm just going to double stitch. And we'll do the other side. Double stitch. Trim. Let's just trim to 1/8. Trim. Okay. Then we're going to press and top stitch, and then these sections are done. And let's do this side. Diane says, Jen, when you started working at the sewing store, how experienced of a sewist were you? I have a funny story for that. That was a long time ago. Like, that was when I started working there 3 months after my oldest daughter was born, part-time, because I hate being at home. So we had a holiday open house every year, and you had to wear something you made. So I very proudly made a jumper with a zipper in the back, and I wore it with a turtleneck. That was my style back then, like a big loose jumper with a turtleneck. And when I got there, like, I thought I had sewn it together really well. And when I saw what all the other ladies were wearing that they made, I was like, oh my God, I don't know how to sew at all. Like, I was embarrassed because, like, the top of my zipper wasn't perfect. You know, and I was just looking at all the details of the other ladies' outfits, and I was just like, oh my God, like, so I started taking every class I could get my hands on. I did everything. I did heirloom sewing with Martha Poulin. We had her at our store, you know, Kathy McMakin. We had Jenny Haskins at our store. We had lots of big names. We had Kenneth King. We had uh, Sandra Patsina. When Sandra Patsina came, I distinctly remember all I want to go home and do is take her 2 books home that I bought and just read them. You know, I sucked up every like class I could get. I got to meet a lot of sewing educators, and I loved it. And then I started doing the Bernina wearable art fashion shows, where I started making very detailed embroidered, you know, wearable art outfits, and I won several competitions. And then I started learning drafting there, and then that's all I wanted to do was draft and drape. So that's kind of how I started at the store, really. Nilgun says, when I go to Toronto again, I'm going to buy this little mini Oliso. Looks so cute. It is cute, and it really is a wonderful iron. I will show you that it's a serious, no joke iron, because when I first got it, I thought it comes with a sole plate, and I thought that would protect, my cutting table. But you can see here, see those marks right there? That is those marks right there are the outline of, oh, actually what I should do, hold on. Oh, wait a minute, let me just switch my view here. All right, so if I put this down, see those marks right there? That is the imprint of the sole plate of the Oliso mini iron melting my cutting table, cutting mat. So it is a very like full heat, full fabulous iron. So now what I do is I put it on the sole plate, which is enough. It's enough to, the sole plate is enough to protect a padded surface, but it's not enough to protect plastic. So keep it on the sole plate and you'll be okay. But it is a really hot iron, so I do love it, and it does have real steam too. So yay. Diane says, I love your story. Oh, thank you. Maybe one day I'll show you all of my Bernina wearable art embroidered garments, and I'll tell you the story about that too, because it's kind of entertaining, and I get to talk about my mom for a minute, so that's always fun for me. All right, let me move this over. All right, so just want to show you, this is what we did, and let's just look at the instructions and see what the next steps are. I'm sorry I have to duck out early today because I have so much stuff to do today, but I just want to show you guys pages 5, 6, and 7 are all the detailed steps to make the card slot. So that's what these are. So then after you do that, the next step is to make the zippered ID pocket. And that's the next thing. And I kind of breezed through the instructions for that, and they're very clear. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do all of that and get it done to the point where it's time to put it together, because I really want to finish this next week. So I'm going to work along on this next week after the craziness of my pants class is finished. And I'm going to get a lot done on this. So next week I can show you the finishing steps for it, and I'll describe everything I did. And then we'll be done with that, and then I'll start a new project the week after. So that's what we're going to be doing next week and then the week after. Oh, Diane says, oh, please do a show and tell. And Jane says, I'd love to see your wearable art outfits too. And Sally says, I would love to see your embroidered wearable art sometime. All right, so maybe if I get a lot done on this wallet, I can just quickly finish that up next week, and then I can show you all of my garments. I have 2 that I won Best of Show for the BOF dealer convention that was in Las Vegas, and then I have one that I won judge's choice for Bernina, and then I won viewer's choice. And I have a few other ones too that I sort of came in as a runner-up, but I did spend most of my life during those years, like 6 months out of the year, working on it nonstop. They're big, detailed garments. So maybe next week, if I make good progress on the wallet, I can just show you the finishing touches on that, and then I can show you my embroidered extravaganzas. So maybe that'll be fun to do for next week. And if I don't get a ton done on the wallet, I'll finish it next week, and then I'll show you the Bernina things the week after. So that'll be our plan. So, yay. All right, so that's going to be it for today. Again, I'm really sorry. I have to get off and go do some stuff, but I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will see you next Tuesday for a Fit Tip Tuesday, and maybe I'll have some more packages in the mail for hats. I haven't gotten any more since the first two, but my December newsletter is out, so if you don't subscribe to my newsletter, just head over to my website and you can view it in just click on view past campaigns and you can see the December newsletter. There's a candy cane Christmas stocking tutorial in there, and there's some details about the hat and what I'm teaching next and all that fun stuff. So check out my December newsletter, and there's also a coupon code in there for 20% off if for a little bit of a holiday sale. So go check that out, and I will see you next week. Jane says, wait, let me just say, Nilgun wants to see the embroidery too, I think. And then Jane says, thanks, Jen. I'm enjoying wearing my house coat. Oh, I'm so excited. Maybe, let me see. Let me just see something here. I got some pictures. I think I can share them. I asked permission, so I know I can share these with you if they're still available on my phone. Let me see if I can get this so you can see. Look at this is someone on my Instagram sent me these pictures, and she used the wrong side of the fabric to cover buttons. I thought that was kind of cool. There's a cute picture. Oops. Oh, I don't know. Okay, there's some more buttons with the pockets, and she used binding to finish the edges of the pockets before she put them on. That came out really nice. Here's the wrong side of her buttons. That's the facing. Look what a nice job she did. She did a really nice job on that. Let's see. No, that's just showing the armhole, but she did a very, very nice job. So, if you want to send me photos, or if you want to share your house coat, you can post them on Instagram and just hashtag me, so I can see them, because I'm very excited that you guys sewed, if any of you sewed the bathrobe. All right, so yay. All right, Nilgun, I'll see you next week. I hope you guys are all safe and sound, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. And I will see you next week, and I will be posting another Fit Tip Tuesday as well. All right, so have a nice weekend, and I'll see you guys very, very soon.